Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm back on the plot and I'm going to start my first job. And what's my first job going to be? I'm going to dig up the nettles. There's a nice pile of nettles by my compost heap and they need to go so I can access my compost heap. So let's make a start. So I was just about to make a start on this lot here when I actually looked inside the compost heap and saw that there's quite a few nettles coming out of here as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll just have a really quick sort of tidy up of this area, because there's no point in me putting anything in there until that area is sorted, and then I can get on and do the nettles on the outside. Righto, so I've got about 45 minutes before I need to pick my children up from school. So let's see how far I can get. Okay, these roots are quite hard. So let's get the fork in to loosen them a bit. So I gotta get this compost heap started, didn't I? Otherwise there's nowhere to put the stuff I'm gonna be strimming. Right, let's put this stuff in the next bay. That makes sense, doesn't it? So we're not working over ourselves, and then it can come back in here once I've tidied this bit up. Looks like nice compost though. When I get round to doing the beds, this might come in handy to fill some of them. Oh. It's all breaking. Oh, this is hard. This is a heavy one to move. Oh. I'm only cutting these down a small amount because I want to be able to see where the plants are. This clump has taken me about 10 minutes to pull up, and you can see there, that's part of the root that was coming from this clump. It's gone into this one here, but we're almost there. Oh, look at that. Whew. Right. One down, 6 zillion to go. Yeah, so the remnants of these, I've just got to make sure that there's no big ones like left. That will start the nettle process again. I want to make sure I got as much out as I can. Victory, that is. Oh. So I'm going to try and dig up this big one now, that's here. I kind of forgot how hard digging up nettles was. But it is nice exercise for the winter after the indulgences of Christmas. Oh. It's a bit like divide and conquer. You kind of work on the outside bits and then you get to the core of it all. Oh. Well, that was a warm job to start off with. I'm going to go and pick my children up now. That has taken about 45 minutes and I've only really got one nettle out, but I have almost finished in that compost heap. So I'll come back tomorrow with some cardboard to put down on top of that, and then I can get cracking on the other nettles. But this might take me a lot longer than I originally thought. But isn't that always the way with gardening? Well, I've come back and it is a really, really cold day. The sun is shining, which is great, but it is so, so cold. Let me show you how cold it is. So here is my allotment, and I'm just going to walk a little bit away from the allotment, and I might as well show you the next allotment here. There's no one on it, so I don't think they'll mind. So this is what my allotment could look like, potentially. And then there's like a load of allotments going up there. This is the driveway as you come in. And then over here, this is a field, believe it or not, this is a field that is flooded. This area is prone to flooding. Hopefully not my allotment. But you can see that where this is flooded, that is all ice. There were some birds around here just now when I came to have a look, but they've flown off. But yes, this is all iced over. So that is as cold as it is. It must be about 1-2 degrees. But let's go back to my allotment, because I'm going to get that stump out that's in my compost heap, which will warm me up, I'm sure. And I've got my strimmer in the car, so we can get strimming today. So after the other day, where it took me so long to get out 1, possibly 2 nettle roots, I went away and I thought about my plan, and I thought, well, that has to change, because it's going to take me a long time to get all these nettle roots out that are here. And the reason I wanted to do the nettles first was because when I strimmed, I wanted to be able to see where the nettle roots were to get them out. And if I strim everything off, I won't be able to see where the nettle roots are. And then when I put my raised beds down, they'll just grow up through my raised beds, and then it'll be even harder to get the nettle roots out. How many times am I going to say nettle roots? Let's have a look. So what I thought I would do is get this nettle root out. That's here. And then I shall start strimming that half of the allotment, because that doesn't look like it's got many nettles in it. And then, depending on how long it takes me to strim today, I'll either tackle a couple more roots and then go back to strimming the other half of the allotment up to where the nettles are, or I might just trim that half of the allotment today, and we'll see. But let's see how long it takes me to get these nettles out for the time being before I plan too much. Yeah, I often find when doing any kind of jobs, if a job isn't working, it's usually better to go home and think about it rather than just blindly carry on doing it. Because doing all these nettles before I did anything else, I just wouldn't feel like I was making any progress whatsoever. So with these nettles now, It's just going to have to be a case of little and often, and hopefully over time we'll get rid of them. Gee, look, see, look at that, and that is just like, that is just the, I don't know what to say, like the start of it, as it were. It's just a mere little factor in the whole of it. Oh, what am I talking about? It's hard to get the purchase underneath to lift it all. I'm just going to put this in my bucket because I don't want that anywhere around, and I brought a bucket just to put plastics and stuff, anything I find that I don't want. Right, beginning to get to the root of the problem now. Right. I knew that would happen. That's okay, we can keep digging around that bit until we got a bit more loosened. Then hopefully it'll come out a bit easier. Yeah, you can see it's going, I think it's going into the next one, into next door, I think. Dig up a bit more. Gee, look how deep down it's going. That should do it, shouldn't it? Well, we'll do it from the depth point of view. Okay, there's these ones here. I wonder if I can work that out while I'm here. Right, where's this root going? Yes, right. There we go. A few roots exposed. It's kind of what you got to do, really, just follow it back all the time. Like with bindweed. Try and get as much out as you can. Yes, right. There's still loads of little roots to get out, but still, that was a start. Well, the hat came off, the scarf came off, it got really warm. But what I have managed to do is I dug through all the compost in the bottom, made sure there wasn't any like really big nettles in there. So when I come to scoop off the compost that's there, I should easily just be able to lift it and put it in the bed, in theory, but you never know. I was really happy with how the compost was that's in this bed. It looks like it's really usable. And when I start making my raised beds, the compost can go straight on top, and that should be really good for the soil and for my plants this coming season, hopefully. Then I put down quite a thick layer of cardboard. I think I used about 3 big boxes of cardboard there. I took off all the sellotape and the staples that were in there, and I left them in the bin that I brought with me, that I'm going to put all my plastics and stuff in so I can take them home each time. And then I moved all the old debris that was in this compost heap back into here so I can make a start on here. And now this bay is ready for hopefully the stuff I'll be strimming. So that is my next job. Let's go and see if I can get the strimmer to work. I gotta try and remember how to use this now. So I think it is. Right, I think you put this blue one to halfway, and then I think all it is try and pull the thing. Okay. I remember now. It makes sense for me to start strimming at the top of my allotment where my gate and fence is, doesn't it? So that anybody passing by could see that actually some work has been done. So let's head down there and let's get going. Sometimes the strimmer gets clogged because, well, the grass is so long. In theory, it shouldn't really be this long, should it? And also, my strimming cord has now got a bit small, so I need to just loosen it off and just release some more cord. So I cleaned all the gunk off here. I'm just using a screwdriver to kind of loosen off the outer casing. And then in here, you just need to like loosen a little bit more of the string or cord or whatever it is called. So and then line it back up. Clip back on. Put my screwdriver in my pocket so I don't lose it. And then we can get back on with strimming. So I'll strim as much as I can now because you don't watch me strimming the whole of the allotment. But I'll show you my progress once I'm done, and I can then pick up or rake up all the bits of grass and put them in my new compost heap. So it's all kind of coming together slowly but surely. Right, let me get on with this. You guys get a cup of tea or sit back and relax. I'll do all this hard work, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. You never guess what happened. The strimmer's run out of petrol. So I need to, get some more petrol. Or diesel, or whichever it takes. My husband normally sorts that out. But I did get a fair amount trimmed. I'll show you in a sec. And I'm just clearing up some of this grass to go in my compost heap, which is very exciting. And I also found this, which was just like here somewhere, hidden with all the growth. I think it's a bin lid, I think. But I can't really think what it might have been used for. So if anybody has any thoughts, let me know. Otherwise, I'll take it to the skip. The skip, the dump. And here I am, putting the trimmed grass into the compost heap. I was very pleased to get this job done. It's what I was dreaming about for the last few nights. And then I'm just off to get another load. But before that, I'm just going to flatten out the pile that's in there so that it's all level for the next load that's going to be coming any minute now. And here it is, the second load going into the compost heap. So hopefully this will start the composting going and decompose those nettle roots that are underneath. This is the area I managed to strim. So I strimmed sort of half of one half, if that makes sense. I know that's a quarter, but I mean like half, half of the one side of the allotment. So I'm reasonably pleased to have got that done. Obviously I would have liked to have finished the whole job, but actually it is almost 2 o'clock, so I better go home and have some lunch before I need to pick my children up from school. So I'm really pleased to have got my compost bin up and running. Hopefully I'll come back tomorrow with some more petrol. So I'll see you guys then. Well, I've made it back down to the plot today. I've just popped in on my way home to see if the ground is available to be strimmed, because we've had a really hard frost last night, like a really hard frost, and the frost is still lingering around in places. So I wondered what the allotment would be like and if I could come down and strim, but it isn't. It is quite frozen over, so it doesn't look like there'll be much work going on here today. But I have been looking around and I found a couple of things that I want to share with you, and they're not good things. There's more work for me. So one of the things I've noticed is that underneath this bench there is astroturf under here. Why?
Why, oh 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 why.
Now I do understand why some people use astroturf, but I don't want it on my allotment. I find that it depletes the soil of its nutrients. So I mean, I probably won't, I'll probably use this as a seating area anyway, so I won't use it to grow in. But if I wanted to use it to grow in, I would have to work really hard to try and get some microbes, and that was microbes, by the way, some microbes back into the soil. And it's also like plastic, so it degrades over a really, really long period of time. And what do we do with most plastic these days? We throw it into the sea. So unfortunately, I am going to throw this away because I don't want it on my plot. So yes, that is one job I need to do reasonably soon. And this bench, I will probably see if any other neighbours want it and get a bench that's got storage in it, so I can store some nets underneath. So I'm not so bothered about the weeds coming up around it as such. But the bench can stay here for the time being until I get around to doing that. Let me show you the other job that is in my very near future. So when I was down here a couple of days ago, I got talking to my plot neighbour, and he'd mentioned that this particular patch, as it were, gets really bad rabbit attacks. Now, I knew there was something getting in here, because where that dreaded astroturf is up there, you can see that there's all rabbit poo. Well, I assume it's rabbit poo, but there's poo of some animal on there that of course won't rot away because it's on the astroturf. And I needed to look at how the rabbits were getting in, and there's no big big mystery. I can see from here why the rabbits are getting in. Let me show you my fence. So this is my boundary fence along here, and as you can see, I've got a wonky old post for a start, but even worse, there is no actual fence here as such to hold the the rabbits out or anything out. So one of my first jobs really is to sort out this fence, and it's going to be a big job because I'm pretty sure to keep rabbits out you need to have the fencing going a real decent way under the ground. It's like it's not a case of just putting it at the level of the grass, as it were. You've got to dig it down maybe about a foot, maybe more, and potentially have it to sort of like come out as well, so it goes down straight and then has like an L bend, because they are cunning and they will think to dig out further and come up, you know, further. So that's going to be a massive job I've got to do. I've also, it's kind of a good thing in a way, because I think where my gate post is, or my gate rather, I think it's off centre. So when I look at the allotment, there seems to be more this side than that side on the current path that's here. So I need to move the gate anyway so that it's central, because I want to have a pathway up the centre, probably donated by patio slabs. So I want that to line up with the gate, because it'd be a bit weird if you had a really nice central pathway and then the gate off centre. So that is another big job I have to do in the very near future. But for now, let's go home and let's have a nice warming cup of tea and plan what I'm going to do on the plot. So everybody take care, keep warm, stay safe. I've been Bethan, and this has been a lovely job.